So in the first part of this video, we took the barrel, we cut the top off, we put a tractor drawbar down here, and we did a little bit of welding up through here, and we got to this stage, okay? If you haven't seen that video, go out there and check it out. To attach this vertical piece here to the drawbar, which this is all gonna be in concrete, right? So you're not necessarily doing this for strength, but just for the sake of building this thing and holding everything together, I have a 1/2 inch by 4 inch bolt here, okay? It's grade 5, and what I'm gonna do is I need to drill holes through this square tubing. This is 1/4 inch, and we're gonna put the bolt through one of the drawbar holes here and tighten it down. Let's go ahead and put this on. I'm not gonna like do it you know, all the way, because I'm probably gonna have to take it off again for other things. But what I think I'm gonna do, take this piece down through here, put that in there like that. All right, so let's tighten this up a little bit. But I'm just gonna test fit this, guys, because I have to drill the holes in this piece here, which I'm actually gonna go get my top link and kind of mock it up, because I don't know necessarily that the hole's gonna go dead middle of all those plates there. But anyways, we'll just kind of mock this up to see what we got, even it up there. All right. That's gonna work good. So I went down and I got my top link. I have a Kubota MX 5800, and I probably should have done this first, but we're fine. But on a MX 5800, it has a category 2 3-point hitch. So for most things, you end up using bushings. Category 2 has bigger holes here. Use bushings and you neck it down to category 1. Well, one of the things it means is this whole eyepiece is just bigger. And if I put this in here, we're good and we're gonna be fine, but we're up against the back here, and it would have been nice to have another 1/2 inch or so up here. And I made this 4 inches long, so maybe I would have done 4.5. So I transferred all my measurements to the outside. Oh, and by the way, the angle of this, it can pretty much be at any angle and not interfere with anything with the drum here. Anyways, the pin hole diameter for a category 1 top link is 3/4 of an inch. That's this. So we got those holes drilled with the Milwaukee hole saw. That thing did awesome. I mean, it leaves your hole so nice. So I went ahead and I got my tractor out, because what I want to do before I move any further with this, I want to test fit everything to the tractor, because now's the time to change things. I did weld the drawbar on around there, just to mainly keep concrete out when I pour it. And also, this was flopping, you know, and now it's solid. So anyways, the other thing I wanted to highlight too was my 3-point arms are all the way down, and that is, I mean, I got plenty of range on the arms to where I mounted the drawbar. One thing I'm noticing is the drawbar's real close. And there's no way around that that I know of, because I put this drawbar in as far forward as I could to kick that as far back as I could. So let's get hooked up and see what all happens here. So let's go ahead and hook the top link up here. Let's hook everything up like we're going to use it. Put the bushing in. Put that in. Also, once I hooked it up to the lower arms, it kicked it out here, got probably, I don't know, 2.5 or 3 inches of clearance right now. Let's see what happens when we lift it. You never know about this geometry on this 3-point hitch stuff. Perfect. All right. Awesome. Now, what we can do, let's lower it to like there. The top link is really short right now, so if I lengthen that, we can straighten this up. All right, that's relatively plumb there. And as I go higher, you know, you can just keep on doing it. If you notice, the top link's not hitting in anything here. Again, that's because I didn't put this bracket any further back. I've seen so many people put that thing in the middle, and the 3-point hitch arms also in the middle, and it's just not the right thing to do. I mean, I got plenty of angle here of clearance I could do if I had to. I think it's gonna work, guys. So here is the next thing I'm gonna do. I think this is gonna be awesome. I've seen other people do it, but it's also the reason why I wanted to hook it up to the tractor to kind of get an idea of where I wanted to mount it. So what am I talking about? This is a 2-inch receiver hitch. And actually this specific one came from Harbor Freight. I don't know if you can see that. And I tell you what, they got the best deals on these things. So it's a 2-inch by 18-inch long. They have them in 18 and 12-inch. And price these on anywhere else. This thing was $17.99 with no coupon. It's got the collar around here. It's thick right there. You can't beat that price. We're gonna mount it where I basically thought we were gonna mount it. The original plan, when I thought about building this whole thing, was to have this. Let me bring the camera over here. Was to have the square piece of this right here come into the square piece of the drawbar on the inside, and you have a vertical mount there on your drawbar, and you could weld or do whatever to there. The problem is the drawbar ends up where the drawbar needs to be is too high, and where this needs to be, it needs to be lower than the drawbar. So we're gonna mount it about right here, and we'll just kind of go from there and see what we want to do to, you know, secure everything. So if you didn't see the first part of this video in the series, this is how I got the holes for the drawbar up there. But basically what I'm using is a laser level, and I came off of the seam right here. I got me a mark back here. Got me my laser line that's plumb. And then I have a cardboard cutout of that receiver, and I put a middle line on it and lined it right up with that line. Then I outlined it with a fine Sharpie, and then see how good I did with the Sharpie. Now what I'm doing, it'll make more sense in a minute, but I'm drilling some 1/2-inch holes through the receiver portion that will be in the drum. This is the part that will be outside of the drum. I ground this away so I can weld it to the drum, mainly to prevent concrete from leaking out. But I'm drilling these holes here, and once I'm done, I'll show you what I'm gonna do there. So I got this receiver tubing, 2 sets of holes here and some holes here. I've got this ground down right here so I can weld it. Get it the right orientation. Right there we go. Now I've got to hold it up to the right spot, and we'll go ahead and weld this. So I got that receiver tubing from Harbor Freight all welded into the drum. I think it turned out great. The tubing is really good quality. The Harbor Freight welder does really good at welding onto that thin drum. I had to leave it sticking out enough to get the pin in. But anyways, yeah, I think we're gonna be satisfied with that. And the plan originally was, I thought, with all this back weight on this thing, that it would want to dip down, and I was going to drive a piece of rebar down right here, get it level, and just put a couple spot welds on it. Well, just with the welding onto the drum, I mean, it is solid as a rock. So what we are going to do, though, and the reason why I drilled the holes in there, is we're going to put a vertical piece of rebar in there, and we're going to put 2 horizontal pieces of rebar, and that'll just really lock that receiver tubing into that concrete. So one of the last things to do yet is, it's just pretty much for fun, but I was at Harbor Freight, and they have these really nice ammo cans. I'm sure most of y'all are familiar with them. They actually have the plastic ones, and they have the metal ones. These things are heavy duty. I mean, it's amazing. So, you open it up, they have a weather seal in here, really nice. And they're all around just very heavy duty. My plan is to figure out some way to mount these, I have 2 of them, to the side of my barrel, and kind of have like 2 toolboxes. And, you know, I could store whatever I wanted in there. Again, kind of for fun, but I think it'll be useful. So here's what I came up with. I bought some 3/8 threaded rod, and I cut it at 6 inches. The length is arbitrary because it's just gonna go in here into the concrete and stop. Nice thing about it being arbitrary, you can get your nuts and lock washers and everything pretty much dead on the end of it here and not have to trim it. And the lid actually had some little dimples on it that will let me pretty much get a dead-on triangle here. It was just real easy to put these Sharpie marks on that. And then I have double nuts here because the top pretty much goes flush with the drum, but since these are out and the drum is round like this, I have to space it out here. Then we'll put nuts from the inside as well. It'll look something like this. All right. And then I'll be able to adjust everything with all these other nuts down in here. And then I'll bring nuts in from the back side. And I'll have me a really nice toolbox here. Check this out, guys. So I just got it mounted up. I'm super pumped about this. Sometimes you just have an idea that ends up just working out without a whole lot of fuss. And here it is. I mean, that's gonna make an awesome toolbox. All right, so you'll be at the rear here. The tractor will be on the other side. You'll just come up here and open her up. And there you go. Got you a pretty decent weatherproof toolbox. There's some wrenches in there. This is sturdy. I mean, this is super sturdy. And I thought, so on your round piece here, that's in the middle hole, I just have one nut. And down here, one nut, it needed to be spaced more due to the curvature of the drum. So my whole idea was to have a whole nother nut and lock washer and flat washer, and I'd be able to jack this out as much as I needed. So I thought there would be a gap here, right in here, of threaded rod, maybe a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, more or less or whatever. But it actually turned out that I did need a spacer, but the whole nut and all that assembly ended up being the exact amount of spacer. So, I mean, look how straight up and down that thing's setting. So that was kind of cool. And so anyways, guys, I'm gonna get to mounting this other one on this other side, and we'll have two pretty neat toolboxes on this thing. Well, there you have it. So I got the toolboxes installed. That's kind of a pretty good view of it. I think these Harbor Freight ammo cans are gonna be awesome for the application I'm using them for. I've actually never used these steel ones before, but I'm liking them a lot. Evening 2 of this, got the drawbar welded up in there, got the receiver hitch welded in, got the toolboxes in, and there's not a whole lot left to do. I need to do the rebar on this receiver, the 2 horizontal long pieces and the vertical piece. I want to make a rebar hook for here, so you can pick this up with the front end loader if needed. Well, this completes evening number 2, working on this 3-point hitch ballast box. Like I said, there's very little left to do on it. You know, just some minor things here and there. And we are gonna be ready to add concrete to this thing. By the way, that reminds me, stick around through the whole series of this build, because I am gonna be weighing this drum when I'm done. So we will know exactly what this thing weighs. If you missed part 1 of this build, I will put the video up here. You can go out there and check it out. I'll meet you over there. I appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time.